Ghost ships. Just what the hell are they? When I was a child, I grew up with such stories like phantom ships of the Whites Creek, where a man reported that he was fishing just off the entrance of Whites Creek when a full-masted sailing ship appeared coming into the Chesapeake Bay. It made no sound at all. It moved into the creek. It passed by him and sailed right up onto the beach, and across the shore road onto the old White House woods, and appeared to be floating above the ground. Common consensus says a phantom ship is a ship with no living crew aboard. It may be a ghostly vessel and is of folklore and fiction, such as the Flying Dutchman, or a real derelict found adrift with its crew missing or dead, like the Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste is not a frozen pizza. It's perhaps the most famous ghost ship of all. The great maritime mystery begins in 1872 when the abandoned ship was spotted near Portugal, just 1 month after leaving port. One lifeboat was missing, the crew was nowhere to be found, and a 6-month supply of uncontaminated food and water was still on board. The crew's personal belongings were left untouched. The ship was still under sail. Piracy and mutiny seemed unlikely as there was no evidence of violence. The last log entry was 11 days prior. The Celeste cargo of 1,701 barrels of alcohol was mostly intact, minus 9 barrels. The crew was never seen or heard from again. Theories about premature abandonment were raised decades later, suggesting that the captain miscalculated the location and the level of water in the bilge, leading him to believe that the ship was destined for waters and sinking. In an attempt to escape via lifeboat, the 10-person crew and passengers probably sank before reaching shore. The Mary Celeste changed ownership 17 times following the incident and had a history of bad luck. The final owner intentionally destroying the ship in 1885, hoping to collect on the insurance money. But what happened to that crew? There have also been reports of a phantom Spanish galleon in full sail floating partially above the treetops as if they were water. Apparently, the phantom vessel rises out of the Whites Creek and sails into the trees. The ship would stop and ghostly pirates would pour over the sides of the ship and down onto the ground. The phantom pirates have been seen roaming around as if searching for something, and some have been spotted digging in certain spots around Old House Woods. Many witnesses on shore have claimed to hear the sounds of digging coming from these old woodlands at night. Many movies have been made about it, many more tales than I can tell you here, but this is hard to swallow for some. But isn't that what makes it paranormal? So on those quiet nights near shore, keep your eyes on the horizon, and you too may spot a phantom ship. And now for the Paranormal Spotlight. Each week we'll bring you the greatest content from around the web. Up first this week is the Angels of Light Paranormal Group. Their post about the Grey Goose Paracon aboard the USS Hornet. I met Anna Hill and some of the other members during the event, and they were sure on the ball with paranormal investigation, and a great group as well. So check out facebook.com/Angels of Light Paranormal Society to check out all their content. Next up was the Ghost Rewind from Alejandro Dominguez, the Dead Explorer. Join the hunt in the haunted house for all new, never-before-released footage of the investigation. Did he get the ultimate EVP? Check out deadexplorer.com to get all the great videos. Now, the Shadow of Light Paranormal Group has a newly released video, The Soul Creek Treasure Hunt. Join the team on the trail of the Austin, Texas Shoal Creek Specters and Ghosts on YouTube. Check the description for a link to that video. And for you people overseas, the UK ghost hunters, be sure to check out the Leicester Paranormal EVP capture from the Galleries of Justice Nottingham. They managed to capture a clear EVP caught when they were right at the bottom of the Galleries of Justice Old Jail, all alone. Check it out on youtube.com/LEICESTR Paranormal for yourself. And with my introduction to the paranormal world this week, I would be completely lax if I didn't mention my take on The American Ghost Hunter, the movie. I managed to watch the film this past week, and I must say, as being part of a haunted and dangerous investigation would definitely be difficult. If you don't know the story of this family's brush with the darkest side of the paranormal, check out American Ghost Hunters the movie on Facebook. The AGH page also shared this heartfelt blog by Ryan Buell. I'd been following his travels through the TV show for the seasons that it was on, and I was glad to have been exposed to his recent thoughts on the paranormal. So check out that blog on paranormalresearchsociety.com. If you'd like to have your investigations or group featured by the Fringe News Paranormal Update, send us the link via our fan page at facebook.com/Fringe News Paranormal. And now for the Fringe News Paranormal Investigator interview of the week. Welcome to the Fringe News Paranormal Update exclusive interview with paranormal researcher Connor Hopkins and member of the Ghost Files. How you doing, Connor?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely, but I'm glad you could join us. Now, I met Connor at the USS Hornet Grey Ghost Paracon here just a couple of weeks ago. They were one of the featured speakers during the event. How did you enjoy the event, Connor?
It was a whirlwind. I was pretty tired just from all the prep work the previous night and stuff, but it was a lot of fun and met some great people and got to go back to the amazing USS Hornet.
Yeah, the Hornet, it was definitely a great experience for me. I never had been out to that particular aircraft carrier before, but it always seems that ships of that era are seriously haunted. How did the ghost hunt go that night?
It was really frantic for me because I was helping people like as a guide and getting groups through and everything, but from what I understand, people had some activity. And the little bit of ghost hunting I did get to do, we had some really weird EMF spikes. We were sitting up in the ready room, I believe, and we asked for the spirits, if they're in there, to set the K2 off, and we were in like a 30 by 50 foot room, and there's probably about 8 K2 meters all around the room, and right when we asked, they all went on at the same time, and it went on for like a half hour. Whenever we'd ask it to do it, it would do it. So that was weird.
Yeah, definitely. While I was there, now I tell people I'm a skeptic. I don't know how far I buy into the whole ghost thing, but I'm definitely working on it. But while I was there, one of the tours had come through during the Hornet, and I could have sworn that I saw a shadow figure move down through the hallway to my peripheral vision. There was nobody there. The tour group was not with us. I actually walked down to the hallway and stuck my head down the hall and sat there literally for 5 minutes listening for movement, whether it was a crew member or, somebody that had moved around back there that was part of the Hornet or whatever. Unfortunately, there was no movement. I don't know what I saw, but it was definitely spooky. So for a skeptic to have a what the hell was that moment was quite interesting on the ship for sure. Did you you got the opportunity to listen to the show The Phantom Ships that I'm going to release today with our interview? What did you think of it?
I thought it was very thought-provoking, and it made me, like, it's always been kind of an interest of mine, the whole ghost ship, the Phantom ship thing, and actually it brought back a memory from when I was like way younger, like 2001, I think. And that movie Ghost Ship was on, and I remember it scared me, but like I've always it's always been like a thought in my head about these scary ghost ships and how cool it would be to see one or experience one.
Yeah, I grew up around the Chesapeake Bay, and there were tons of old pirate ghost ship stories that would where phantom ships would flow into hidden bays and stuff that you just didn't see anymore, and would just dematerialize as they got past certain trees or whatnot. And no one's really ever been able to put a name to it or a type of thing. And now with what a lot of the investigators are calling residual energy hauntings, is it possible that there's that much energy left over that a phantom ship could actually be just that recording playing over and over again?
I wouldn't say it's impossible because no one really knows, but before the show I was doing a little research on the whole phenomenon itself, and there's this thing called phantom or something, some weird name, and it's like a mirage that happens off a reflection or something if the certain atmospheric conditions are right, and I don't know, I don't really buy it. And then there's another big theory I research a lot within the paranormal with everything from Bigfoot to ghosts and stuff is thought manifestations, like the Philip experiment, where if enough people are believing it and projecting this thing to happen, it could actually create itself, and that's all it is.
That's an interesting prospect. I never really thought about it that way. I mean, I can understand that the brain sees what the brain sees, and sometimes it makes up what it wants to see out of something that's actually there. Could it have just been some type of a floating debris or some type of, some type of driftwood going by that was out there that your eye caught and just made into sails? It's hard to say for sure what exactly would happen. But the story of the ghost ship where the pirates pile over the side and start to dig up the area was quite entertaining to me.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Can you imagine seeing a flying boat and pirates jumping off the side?
Exactly. I think I would freak out and run back inside. Now, I have a couple of set of standard questions that I ask all the investigators myself. What exactly got you into ghost hunting? What provoked it for you?
Ooh, this is a good story. So, back in 2009, I believe, I moved to my current house where I live in Auburn, California right now, and I had a black lab named Zoe, and I used to take her on walks around. It's an apartment complex, so there's not like much to see, but there's this little foresty area. And a little background about myself is before this, like I didn't like the way I was kind of raised and the way I watched like a haunting and ghost hunters and stuff. I've always kind of accepted aliens and ghosts and Bigfoot as just something real, but never really put any much thought into it. And then one day we're out in the woods, and I found this abandoned house slash barn thing out in the woods, and it's scary. It's like really scary. And so me and all the neighbor kids, we dubbed it the haunted house, but not really putting not thinking it's haunted. Just this what it looks like a haunted house.
Right.
And so one day I'm up there with my dog, and I see this 6 foot tall creature, not creature, black mass, like a hooded black mass standing at the bottom right corner of the building.
Wow.
And at first, like, I'm just like, oh, that's someone in like a black hoodie or something? And then I looked at my dog, and her tail was between her legs, and she was all small. And then she turned around and started running away. And so I was like, okay, well, if my dog's running, I should probably run too. But I'm looking at this thing still, and it's like, it's solid, but it's see-through at the same time. It almost looks like it had bad reception on a television. Like it was like kind of grainy and like
right,
staticky.
Almost staticky. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I start running too, because I'm like holy crap, there's something here that made my dog run. I gotta go. And so I'm looking back, and then it starts chasing me. And I mean, it only chased me because I ran. That's kind of our saying is, don't run away from evidence, run towards it. It'll only chase you if you run. So that's where we got all those lessons from, is his first experience. And so I start running, and it's not like hovering or walking. It's like in one spot, and then it's about 10 feet closer, and then it's there for a second, then it's like 10 feet closer. So it's like teleporting, I guess, just a little bit closer to me. And so I'm hauling ass.
Interdimensional travel.
Yeah. So I'm hauling ass through the woods. Like, I'm not taking the trail. I'm just brushing through trees and stuff. And there's a barbed wire fence. Like, you know how when there's like really old fences and they just get stepped on and they're just like really small on the ground?
Right.
So it's just enough to catch my ankle. I tripped on it, and I fell into the street, because we were just right before the street. And it was like a war movie. It was like slow motion. I like looked down the street, and my dog was in the middle of the street, way down, looking at me, like waiting for me to get up. And then I kind of like looked into the woods, and I see this thing, boom, boom, closer and closer. Oh. And so I haul ass all the way down the street to my house, and then I turn around and I look, and there's this shadowy figure standing in the middle of the road up at like where I came out of the woods. And then it put its arm up like it was pointing at me like that, and then turned around, and this time it walked back into the woods.
Oh, you lived a scene out of a horror flick.
Yeah, exactly. And then first thing I did was I grabbed my neighbor, who was like, so I was 13, so she was like 9, and I grabbed my camera and I went back, and that's when I became a ghost hunter.
Well, dude, that's an appropriate way to become a paranormal investigator for sure. I thank you for telling us that story, because it's tough to understand where people get the concept of why they need answers sometimes. And I'm glad to be able to that you were able to share that with us. Now, one of the other questions that I always ask is, is that the scariest moment that you've had in the scariest place?
Yes and no, because it was the only time I've ever ran away from something and been like terrified, But if you watch in our season that first episode at the Farrar Elementary School,
Yes, that was
that
scary.
that place, I'd have to say, is the scariest place I've ever been. Nothing really happened, but it just felt wrong. Something did not feel right about that school. And I've been in places where me and Brendan were doing a house blessing, and he got scratches on his body, and I've seen someone get thrown off a ladder with a growl, like associated at the same time. And I've been touched. I've heard crazy things. I've seen a few full body apparitions, but being by myself in that elementary school in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, was the scariest moment of my life.
I would honestly have to say that that would freak me out to be touched in a place like that. I don't know if I could handle that or not. I'm not one to be touched in real life, you know. I like to be touched by a nice soft lady here and there, but other than that, I really don't like to have things touch me. So to be in a place where something that I can't see might actually physically be able to manipulate me to feel as though I've been touched, I don't know how well I'm going to be able to handle that, but I'm brave enough to be able to try it. And that's one of the things that I noticed through you guys' season 2 DVD there. The Ghost Files Season 2 DVD. These guys are fearless. I mean, they wind up the ghosts and they go in there and investigate it. I mean, that's really what they do. And you guys, even the young lady, I'm sorry, what is her name?
Sierra.
Sierra. I knew it was one of those two. She's just as fearless as everybody. And I say,
She's
good job.
Yeah, she's got more balls than the rest of us. She's she's
She's
the only one
proceed
that
to in certain
finished.
scenes.
Yeah, she's the only one that finished all of her isolation sessions throughout the whole season. And we actually
Well, that's
filmed 5 episodes, but there's only 4 on the DVD. You saw the special feature, the Lost episode, and that was just a
yeah, the
whole.
lost episode.
That was just a cluster. That was 2 attempts. Like we had to go spend money to go film it. Footage got lost. And we went to go film it again, and it just like wouldn't happen. And it's what we call the Virginia City curse. Yeah, Virginia City just likes to take away footage from us for some reason.
Well,
Always
speaking
has.
of Virginia City, you have the Ghost of the Old West 2 coming up here in May. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do events. We try to do more unique events than a Paracon where we just have tons of people flooding to see all these people that were on TV and have them sign a shirt and then that's it. We like to have 1 or 2 celebrity guests. Like this year we're having Bill Murphy, and I can't tell you who the other one is because we haven't confirmed him yet. But we will have a second guest if that doesn't work out. And we like to spend the whole weekend, so Friday through Sunday, and Cole and Brendan are actually going to go up to Virginia City on that Thursday, and there'll be a pre-dinner. So it's like a 4-day experience if you're around. And it's only 30 people, so it's a really small group. We have 2 different locations to investigate. We do different lectures from the guest speakers ourselves, plus some evidence presentations and some film screenings. So it's a pretty cool
It
weekend.
looked like it's going to be an absolutely fun adventure. You're doing the release of your mini documentary this year, is that correct?
Yes, The Lady in White. I'm actually filming some more scenes this weekend for it. The concept behind that is kind of what I was talking about earlier, the thought manifestation, excuse me. And so basically, I mean, you've been into the ghost world a little bit now, but have you heard that every town pretty much has a lady in white when you're researching
Well,
their ghost
yes. There's
stories?
there's always there's always the story of the woman in white. It's normally an urban legend,
Yes.
and it develops somewhere and gets traveled from place to place. And there's normally some basis in truth in it.
And then, so after kind of like, it's been a thought of mine for like 3 years, like why did every town have this? And like, there's even some like old legends like from like 1,000 years ago in Europe or there's some old Mexican like Aztec myths and legends about the same thing. And I feel like why it's so widespread is like you said, it gets passed on and regurgitated over and over again. And a lot of these people like say, "Oh, that must be real," and they just accept it as fact. And then because of that energy, is people accepting it and believing in it and talking about it, that it's actually creating this manifestation of energy.
Or or giving it enough of the paranormal energy and belief to possibly manifest itself from one location to another.
Yes.
It's difficult to say, but it's definitely an interesting concept for sure. Connor, when are the dates that people can the dates for the Ghost of the Old West 2?
In May 9th through 11th, and if you're local to Nevada, there will be a pre-dinner on the 8th with Cole and Brendan, hosted in Virginia City. And you can get more details for that at ghostfiles.tv/events. So
There you go. And you can check out episodes on the paranormalreality.tv, correct?
yes.
Excellent. Well, I have to ask you one last question before we go, sir. What is your favorite piece of paranormal investigation equipment?
This is a fun one. I like the trusty old stuff and all the EMF gadgets and all that good stuff, but all I really care about is a video camera. One, because as a filmmaker, I'm just always trying to document everything, and two, it's one thing like, oh, the light blinked, or oh, there's a video of a person walking down the hall that wasn't there. So I always got to stick with a video camera.
Awesome. I'm kind of with you there. For Bigfoot research and paranormal research, there's nothing beats the good old HD video in my book, too. Connor, I want to thank you very much for joining the Fringe News Paranormal Update exclusive interview series. And you've been a fantastic guest. I hope we can do it again sometime.
Sure.
Where can people see you soon?
I think our next event will be Spirits of the Old West 2, and then after that will be Vegas Paracon, hopefully.
Vegas Paracon. That's right. We've been hunting down the vendor table for the last week. I appreciate you joining me, Connor. It has been a pleasure talking with you. The Ghost Files on paranormalreality.tv. You can pick up the DVD at theghostfiles.com. You can also find their Facebook page at www.facebook.com/theghostfiles. For Connor Hopkins of the Ghost Files, I am Reverend Jeff of the Fringe News Paranormal Update. Thanks for joining us. And who says it isn't normal?